Well, since Trump got elected, we've been having a lot of people melt down, freaking out. I mean, these people are unhinged. There's something seriously wrong with him. Have you noticed this at all, Rude?
Yeah, and to be honest, it's kind of hilarious.
It's do we have something to show you? You've probably seen a few of these. If not, check them out.
Lunatic is on the grass. Lunatic is on the grass.
All right. Well, it seems that there seems to be one party, seemingly. I wonder how many more times I can throw seem in there. That there's one party that melts down a little bit more when things just don't go quite their way. Have you noticed that at all?
It's kind of like stomping and screaming that a 4-year-old would do.
Right. Yeah. I
Yeah,
don't
see-
get my way. I want that candy.
Yeah.
No.
Exactly.
Shut up.
You can't have the candy.
You can't have the candy. Wow, my voice sounds really demonic right now, doesn't it? It's crazy. But that's how these people kind of sound. They just sound like they're freaking losing it, man. I'm telling you. Things don't go their way, they throw a tantrum, and it's unreal. Let's jump into this and show a few people. This is from Joe Rogan's podcast. I think they show a few. I haven't seen this, so we're going to go through. It's 8 minutes. I'm not going to show that long of a one.
Yeah,
we'll go through a few. Yeah, we'll just go through a few first and see. So let's check this out real quick and get on this, and then if you need me to pause, just jump in here and tell me, brother, because I think you watched this in preview.
Yeah, before you start this one, so there was Joy Behar. I don't know if
she is so hot.
I don't know if our
my
listeners listen to The View or watch The View. However, it was basically Joy Behar.
And
kicking and screaming. Yeah, kicking and screaming about anything she can.
Right.
And trying to discredit Rogan. And to be honest with you, Rogan's show, I love Rogan's show, but it wasn't necessarily political, and it's not banned. It's really kind of been an open platform. However, yes, he did get Trump on. He tried to get Kamala on. Kamala, her demands were just ridiculous. And then
shocking.
Yeah, then ultimately kind of refused not to go on it, pass it up. But the problem is me and you both know that traditional media is kind of taking a back seat to shows like Rogan and shows of the sort. A lot of TikTok's been on. Rumble, dude, I get 90% of my news from Rumble now. And the thing is it's taken a backseat to these other, media outlets.
Right.
And so they're having to dig and scrape and prod for anything that they can get at. And I think it's kind of, the era, or at least the temperature right now is discarding fake news. And, she's kicking and screaming, and she's saying, would you believe this guy? You're basically trying to discredit him. Believe this guy, a guy who believes in dragons, right? And then roll the clip, and he responds basically to that.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Because they just said, oh well, yeah, he loves dragons or believes in dragons, and it's like, art.
Do you believe in a guy that believes in dragons? No, it's serious. He believes in dragons, and it's like, no, that's not what he was talking about. If you listen to that, the whole thing in context, you'll see that that's not what he's talking about. But, but here's a little clip of Joe,
Yeah.
talking about that.
Listen to what he's saying real quick here. All right.
I had to read the thing about the view because I just thought it was funny.
What's
That's
the
the
view?
only reason why I read
dragon.
that about me.
Dragon
view?
lover.
Tell me what this is.
Behar was trying to
Dragon
say that I
lover.
believe in dragons.
Wait, what is this? I
Dragon.
just heard
I
about it.
checked it. And the lady goes,
I
did you
checked
double check
it.
this? She goes, I checked it. And believes in dragons.
Should be
You
like
think they live
Sasquatch,
alongside of
bitch.
people?
Wait,
It was from a wildlife biologist who came on my podcast. It was from Forrest Gallant. Gallant? How do I say his last name? Great guy. I love him.
Yeah.
He's awesome. But
Lock
he
in,
was
Jamie.
saying
Lock in.
there are
Yeah, right.
there are
Fucking off.
J-Mo, let's do it.
Sorry.
when it
Jamie, you
comes-
haven't
see
called
if you can
anything
find
up.
Forrest's clip where he's explaining dragons.
Now
The
that Jamie looks
memes.
like a Mexican, he's
This
lazy.
is where it came from. And the View decided from this and from me talking about it with Adrian Appalucci the other day, explaining
Appalucci,
what
Dark
Forrest says and saying that I don't think that there was pterodactyls living with people. I said it, no. And she said maybe they did live with us. I'm like, wow. Because I thought my position is it's probably crocodiles or some big Komodo dragon or some big
Because
lizard
Joe's a
that did
comedian
kill
and
people.
they don't have a sense
And
of
so
humor.
people fought them
No.
with swords and shit, and they came back with a story, and then the artist drew it, and these
Yeah, if you
things.
saw one of those at night and you had a stick, yeah, it'd be like,
All
I fought
throughout-
a pterodactyl.
all
I
throughout
found a
these
picture
same
of Joe Rogan and a unicorn.
all throughout these same time periods, there's been giant lizards. All throughout the same time periods, there've been Komodo dragons. There've been crocodiles. Been here for fucking 100 million years or whatever they've been for. Probably
money.
more. So the idea that people didn't encounter giant reptiles is stupid. And then there's the other thing is like people were really bad at describing things that they'd never seen before. So if you're
Yeah.
a European traveler and you go to the Nile River and you see a fucking crocodile,
See a
like, what
crocodile
is that?
Take a guy.
Yeah, what is
You
that?
go, what the fuck?
Or
What is
maybe
that?
in
What is
Florida.
that? So let's. It holds any weight? Like
No,
there's
I-
actually dragons.
I mean, we know there were large flying lizards during the times of dinosaurs, right?
Right.
The only weight that it could possibly hold is that like a few of those somehow survived much later than we previously thought. But I think that there were dragons attacking human beings and civilizations? No, I don't.
JD
But it's still
Vance looks
interesting.
terrible.
It's so much cooler if there were.
Right.
And, like, the fact that we know that pterodactyls did exist, that's cool.
Right.
It would be way cooler is if they existed with people.
Right, 2,000 years ago.
Why
Yeah.
is that? But why is that so much cooler to us?
I don't know.
It's like I mean, people would dedicate giant chunks of their life trying to find out if pterodactyls did coexist with human beings.
Oh, yeah.
No, I swear,
Oh, yeah.
I thought you had pterodactyls on your shirt there, and I was like, yeah, this is the most
Oh,
autistic
that'd be
thing I've
hilarious.
ever
That's
seen.
so- I think that's
It was
a
like, why
rhino.
can't
That's a
pterodactyls be real?
Kafaru shirt.
The problem is you're
But-
taking Joy Behar, whatever her name is, as like a new
This is
Joey-
right
as a
Joey
new-
Behar.
Did you have a
No,
stroke?
no. This
I
is the
don't
most
know.
important
I watched
part.
A Few. I don't know.
Mitch
anything.
McConnell over
Hey, this is the most important part. This was right after she was saying, we are run by ABC News. You should trust us, not Joe Rogan, who believes in dragons. So she
What?
by saying we should trust them because they're double checked by
Yeah.
ABC News, and then making the stupidest fucking statement. Like you didn't listen to what I said.
Yeah.
You didn't listen to what the wildlife biologist, and that's only a part of what he said.
I can't
The
believe
other
Joy
part of what he
Behar
said
didn't
was
wait.
there was something
ABC
before
News
that where he was
fact checks.
explaining encounters with giant
Yeah.
reptiles.
I
And
don't
there's
know.
also, listen,
It doesn't make sense to me
There-
that a middle-aged woman could be dumb.
when you're worried about
She's
losing your
really
job
good.
and you're
Yeah.
worried about podcasts taking over and who's the source of news and we said Donald Trump was Hitler, but half the country disagreed with us and he won and this is fucking crazy. And Joe Rogan believes in dragons. It's just frantic.
Bro, if you believe that Donald Trump is Hitler and everyone who supports him is a massive racist, and if you are in any ethnic or gay, you need to get the fuck out of this country. Because if you believe all that, it's bad for you here.
But Sunny Hostin, she makes some good points.
Who's that?
No,
She's the other one.
That's not going to clip
yeah,
well.
that's,
just
that's
saying,
terrible.
Like, if
Remember,
they
she's
really
a
do
former-
this, what are you still doing here?
Just like
Jamie, there's
Kamala.
a photo that I have on my Instagram.
You gotta start
Go
drinking,
home.
Ari.
I'm drinking.
Jamie, there's a photo I have on my Instagram of a whale that's on a wall in an old Italian church.
Hand
It
me
was from like 2017 or 2018. I was in Ravello, and there's this
Yeah,
church
you get-
that's
you-
it's so old.
you can
the
kill
church
it.
is 1,000 years old. but
Yeah, so
Yeah, they just
but
going
that was-
off a little bit. Yeah.
yeah, that's just kind of the whole point behind it is taking little pieces and not even listening to the full explanation and then making these wild claims about it, and
The hell.
this is kind of where the talking point goes is the lefties are losing it and they're really like just I don't know, really scraping the bottom of the barrel here to try to discredit whoever I guess this is a Trump supporter or whoever's not on their side or whatever.
Oh, that one.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
Whoever's
and
not on their
it's
side.
it's been actually pretty comical to watch. To be
Well,
honest with you.
but you brought up a good point right there. It's whoever's not on their side, because they sit there and they tout, we're for the gays, the LGBTQ, blah blah blah. We're for the blacks. We're for the Hispanics. We're for the Asians and all that stuff. Unless you're conservative,
Mhm.
unless you vote Republican, they're all for you as long as you vote for them and you believe in their agenda and all that. And if you're not, see, it doesn't matter. You can be a black guy, a gay guy, woman, whatever, and all that stuff. And as long as you vote for them, they love you. But the second you wake up and realize maybe that's not representative of how I believe and how I feel, then you're shunned, and then you're yelled at, you're screamed at, you're called all sorts of names, and that's what they are. That's what they do, right?
Yeah.
And I'd like to know how many people from the Republican conservative side do that to other people. Oh, as soon as I find out you're a Democrat or you vote Democrat, oh,
Yeah, you're the devil. You're the devil
I
incarnate.
don't want to do Thanksgiving dinner with you. I don't want to celebrate. I'm gonna, you're banned. You're no longer my father and my mother and blah blah. I mean, these people are absolutely freaking nuts, man.
It's insane. Yeah.
Now there are some that probably do on the Republican, but very few that I've ever seen. It's always been the left, the Democrat, the lefties on the Democrat side who will not be your friend anymore. Not all of them. There's some. I've actually talked to many, and I do have friends who are that way. Like, thank God they're normal. But there's a lot that just sit there, and as soon as they find out you don't agree with their political viewpoints.
Well, yeah, and that's really kind of the sad thing, because I think that if there was just a civil conversation that could happen, it would obviously kind of diffuse.
Yeah.
But the thing is every time I've tried to have a civil conversation and give credit to creditable
Yeah.
Dems, with somebody who I'm, kind of going back and forth with, all of a sudden they still go on the character attack, and like you can't even have a civil conversation because it's all character attacks, and then my question, and then they're starting to question my character,
Right.
and I'm like, look, man, if we can't have a simple agree to not
A disagree conversation.
agree to disagree conversation, then we're just better off not talking. And
Just not
you know
talking.
what's
Yeah.
sad? I think that we may have had this conversation before, but I lost about 4 or 5 friends during this whole election process
Well, you
because
probably thought were really good friends of yours forever and ever.
right, and people that I've known for a long time.
Yeah.
And but we never had a politics discussion,
Right.
and or anything like that. And then as soon as it comes up, I'm basically Mussolini.
You're a
and
pariah,
I'm like,
dude.
yeah, and I'm
What are
like,
you
are you
thinking? How
kidding me?
dare
right
you vote for that Hitler communist racist son of a bitch?
Yeah.
You son of a
How dare you? Yeah, one of the comments that I got was,
ridiculous.
I thought you were a better person than that, and I was like, well,
I thought
obviously
you were smart.
right, and I'm just kind of like, are you okay? Whatever, and
Well, I can say
I-
the same thing about you. Well, I'm just saying.
I sent you a link to the Sunny Houston interview where ABC actually fact checked her, and
Oh, okay.
and yeah, so we'll get to that in a little bit, but But yeah, so it's been kind of an eye opener. Well, not
Yeah.
kind of. It's been a huge eye opener.
Right.
And once people, I guess, find out that you have a voice different than them, how
Mhm.
quickly their attitude will change against you, and that's sad.
It
Because
really
I didn't
is.
have anything against what they believed in. I didn't have anything against what they were supporting.
Well,
But-
yeah, and
You know?
I don't understand why these people think that just because you think differently than they do politically, or you're going to vote for Trump instead of Biden or Harris or anybody else, that all of a sudden they can't talk to you. It's like, thank God we all don't think alike. We're not all little robots walking around in lockstep like the military in China and North Korea and Russia and everything. And it's sad because, like I said, you and I don't think that when we find out that somebody has a lefty or democratic point of view and ideal that they vote for, that we're all of a sudden, I'm going to go over here now.
Yeah.
Hey, good talking to you. See, I got to go over here. I'm not going to talk to you anymore because you don't think the same. You have a different point of view than mine, and you could be right and I could be wrong, and I don't want to believe that.
Well, it just goes back to the stomping and kicking and screaming.
Yeah.
Like, really? Like, you're going to act like a 4-year-old child over this? Are
Yes,
you?
I am.
You know what?
Damn it.
Good riddance. Good riddance.
Right.
You know what?
Well, I got your Sunny Hostin video.
And this is something on a subject that you wanted to bring up. So this is
Okay.
this is
okay,
good.
perfect. So we can
yeah.
segue into that then.
Yeah, we can segue into that.
Perfect. Here we go.
Okay, Sonny, you have a legal note.
I do have a legal note. Thank you, Whoopi. Matt Gaetz has long denied all allegations, calling the claims, quote, invented, and saying in a statement to ABC News that this false smear following a 3-year criminal investigation should be viewed with great skepticism. That DOJ investigation was closed with no charges being brought.
We'll be right back.
Okay.
That was one of the only things that I applaud Whoopi for and Sunny Houston for over the last year, 2 years, 3 years. I don't watch The View, but their stupid clips have been thrown up there quite a bit during this election process.
Right.
And we were going to get into Trump's cabinet picks, and he was one of them.
Yeah, we'll get into that after a couple more of these people losing it. But yes, I know where you're going. Go ahead and continue on.
Yeah, no, but it just goes to show, how far they're willing to go against facts.
Yeah, right.
Because
they're so biased against them. Yeah.
Yeah, to smear. You know what I mean?
I'm surprised she was a prosecutor with the incredible bias that she shows on a daily basis on this brain dead double-digit IQ show called The View. I really am shocked that she ever was a and then I also sit back and I think, well, maybe it's because she's getting paid, and so she's getting paid to say all this shit that she doesn't really believe. Do you remember Brian Williams was on Seth Meyers, I think, and he was talking about the election, and because he's no longer employed with NBC News, he started spouting out what he really thought and thinking that the Democrats are absolutely freaking nuts. It was glorious to see. Maybe while I'm showing this other clip, I'll see if I can try to find that one real quick as well, because that is just classic. But it's like, it makes me really wonder how many of these people employed at ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, and MSNBC and all that are, well, and Fox, same thing. They're paid to do it. Although I think Fox is a little different. They are Democrat owned, they are Democrat funded, but they are allowed to say the other opinion, the conservative Republican opinion, a hell of a lot more so than the others. So it's actually quite amazing to me to see that. I'll see if we can try to find that as well. So now going into more of the lefties, there's this mental disorder that the left seems to have with a lot of their useful idiot followers. There is a book called Useful Idiots that people should get out there, and they have to realize that you might be a useful idiot. You are being used by the establishment, by those in charge, to toe their line, to be on the front lines, to die on the sword for them, with selling their propaganda for them. But you're the one that's going to go to jail, or you're the one that's going to sit there and look like a fool while you're out there pushing their agenda. It's often funny. So I wonder how many of these news broadcasters really think about. Like, look at Chris Cuomo and how he's kind of been a little more normal, more centered, not so left of left. He's kind of left center still, but he's a little more centered. It's amazing.
Well, yeah, you've looked at some, and really they've come to the realization, and then come to the realization that, oh, I'm an actual journalist, and I should probably do my job the way it's supposed to be done.
Whoa! Slow down there, Tiger.
If I want to keep a job, you know.
Don't go too far off the reservation, buddy. That's some crazy talk right there.
It's
Actual journalism? Are you sure about that?
Right? The journalist of old is not the journalist of new. That's for sure.
That's for sure. All right. So I don't know if you ever seen this this gal. She's from Sky News Australia. She is awesome. I love her. Rita Panahi. I can't exactly know how to pronounce the last name. Panahi. She's awesome. And in Australia, they have an outside looking in view on us here in America, and they always kind of comment on things. And not just here, they talk about Macron and they talk about Xi and everybody else. But they talk a lot about what's going on, and they get it because they obviously lean more conservative, even though the Australian government itself is definitely leftist woke. Look at the lockdowns they did.
Yeah, it's fucking terrible.
Yeah, it was horrible. But she has this show that she brings out in this segment called Lefties Losing It, and it's absolutely hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So let's listen to a few things. Hers is a long 19 minutes. We're definitely not showing that much. We'll show a few. It's people melting down, and see if you know anybody of these people. See if you know anybody like this.
Lefties Losing It. Tonight we'll be featuring Australian Lefties Losing It. Yes, we have our own supply here. Do not send your enraged, TDS-afflicted lefties to our shores, America. Try New Zealand. But first, sometimes on this segment, I'm confronted with levels of craziness, levels of lefty ludicrousness that are just frankly hard to digest. I'm left thinking, is this real or is it satire? Sadly, it's almost always real.
No, you aren't supporting, investing, or organizing your community to uplift the most marginalized if you're still not masking. Our liberation has always been connected. The continued rise of fascism is directly connected to Palestine, Sudan,
Fascism.
Xenophobia, and yes, COVID.
The rise of fascism is connected to Palestine and trans violence and masking. We've entered levels of intersectional madness previously thought impossible, and she's not done yet.
Being okay with disabled and immunocompromised folks dying for your convenience is not very progressive of you, especially when we know repeat infections can cause lifelong damage for all of us.
Okay, real quick. Can you look at some of these people right off the bat and just kind of guess what political view they have?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And I'm not talking even just the ones with the freaking bright red, yellow, green, blue hair, whatever. It's just, you can look at certain people and just the way they are, and you're just like, I bet you he probably votes Democrat, no problem, easily. And I'm shocked when they don't, but usually I'm pretty right. It's hilarious.
If you were unable to handle the inconvenience,
like this one, I wonder how she votes.
How much are you really willing to personally invest in the liberation of marginalized people? That being said, it's never too late to start masking again and taking more precautions.
There you go. It's simple. If you don't wear a mask, you're basically a fascist and a killer. I bet I can guess who that favourite TV network is. It's Gotta be MSNBC, where the hosts are as crazy as the ever-shrinking audience. Here, Rachel Maddow defames the man selected by President Trump to be the next director of the NIH, Dr. Joy Behar. This is what Maddow had to say about a superbly qualified, courageous, and principled man who is currently a professor at Stanford Medical School.
Trump's top candidate endorsed herd immunity as the best way to address the COVID pandemic. Just a fancy way of saying, let's get everybody sick and see what happens. Cull the weak, cull the elderly.
Oh my God.
Disgusting lie from a woman who should know better. For the record, Dr. Behar advocated for focused protection of the elderly and vulnerable. But then we're used to Rachel Maddow lying, fibbing about everything from the Russian collusion hoax to the COVID jabs. Remember this?
Now we know that the vaccines work well enough that the virus stops with every vaccinated person. A vaccinated person gets exposed to the virus does not infect them. The virus cannot then use that person to go anywhere else.
Okay, so all you people who followed Rachel and listened to her and other people who said exactly that, you were still freaking out over people not wearing masks and people who were not getting the jab. Why? I thought you listened to everything she said, and if she said that it stops with you, what are you worried about? What were you worried about?
Dude, there's a study out that God, I wish I would have grabbed it, but there's a study out, and you know, our listeners can look it up. And this is the truth. Like me and Barn, we try to validate everything that we talk about, as far as like when we're throwing out news and stuff like that. Is just,
and if we're wrong, we will admit it. Yeah.
Yes, and please let us know. You know, in the comments. Yes. Yeah, if we're wrong. But there was a study out that more people got COVID multiple times that had the jab than people that didn't have it.
I'm baffled.
So
I'm shocked.
So what does that tell you about how good this jab worked?
It was awesome, dude. It was safe and effective, of course. And, you know, you can give that to anybody and everywhere. And, you know, don't worry about the normal length of time it takes to test a vaccine out, like a whole decade at least, to check out long-term effects.
Right.
We'll just fast track that shit. Just throw an emergency use authorization. We'll just call it an emergency and a crisis, and just have everybody just, you know, okay, it's an emergency, it's a crisis. Let me get this untested drug in me.
I think there's a word for that, Barn. Fear mongering.
Oh, that yes.
Oh, it's 2 words. My bad.
Oh,
my bad.
yeah.
My bad. 2 words.
Well, you count like Biden counts. You know. I got 3 words for you. And it was 4. You know, I was just like, what? Yeah. Yeah. No, it's just yeah. Were there a couple more on this? Should I play a couple more, or are we?
We can do a couple more, or we can. No.
Yeah, we'll move on. I have just a couple more.
You cannot use a vaccinated person as a host to go get monkey.
Now to veteran Democrat strategist James Carville, who is sick and tired of young progressive upstarts behind Kamala's campaign.
Cajun gets.
And this meltdown is, I've got to say, superb fun. Enjoy.
Not only am I not interested in your opinion, I'm not even going to call you by your name. You're 23 years old. I don't really give a what you think. And let me tell you another huge error in this way, is when people said campaigns need to reflect progressive values. No, they don't. No, they don't.
He's right about that.
I like nothing more than watching lefties turn on each other, and Carville is in rare form here.
If I were running a 2028 campaign and I had some little snot-nosed 23-year-old saying I'm going to resign if you don't do this, not only would I fire that on the spot, I would find out who hired them
and fire that motherfucker
on the spot. I'm really not interested in your uninformed, stupid jack opinion.
We mustn't forget that old school Democrats can be just as irrational, mean-spirited.
And real quick, remember, all these Democrats like James Carville think they know everything, and nobody else knows anything.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to how arrogant these people are. It's amazing.
And bigoted as the New Left, watch here as Kerry Kennedy essentially disowns her own brother. This is gross.
Oh, yeah.
I'm outraged and disgusted by my brother's gaudy and obscene embrace of Donald Trump. And I completely disavow and separate and dissociate myself from Robert Kennedy Jr. in this flagrant and inexplicable effort to desecrate and trample and set fire to my father's memory.
Now to women's.
Okay, I also need to make one comment about the whole Kennedys and this whole New England thing. Why is it? And I feel bad. I feel bad for RFK Jr. I feel bad for other people. And it was this way, you know, why do they all sound like this when they talk? What is going on? And I'm dead. I'm not trying to make fun. I am seriously wondering, what is it in the water or that they eat or that's in the genes, the DNA of these people that they are afflicted with? And I feel bad for RFK. You can't even understand him.
Yeah, it's very
intently.
Really hard for him to talk, and it would have been really hard to, like, if he was running for president, it'd be really hard. Because you look at like Barack. I mean, he was probably one of the most well-spoken candidates and presidents. You know, obviously, like, I disagree with some of the things he did, but at the same time, I can't deny that he was probably one of the best most well-spoken, just leader that we've had. I mean, you go from that, you look at that contrast to Robert Jr.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know. I think they said that it was something. I heard a story about it a while ago when he first started kind of backing Trump. I think it's something. It's a hereditary thing, gene thing. And I'm not positive. If you know what it is, let us know in the comments, because
Katharine Hepburn had it as well when she was older.
Yeah, this is true.
And so hereditary in what way? Because a lot of people, and it all seems to stem from out of the New England area.
New England area.
I don't know what it is. I seriously, please, if somebody knows what it is, please put it in the comments, because I am serious. I want to know what this is, because I feel bad for a lot. Susan Collins from Maine, that stupid dumb bitch, the Republican, senator from Maine. She talks like this also. Is she part of the Kennedy fit? No, she's not.
Yeah, but I don't know. They might be related, like, somewhere down the line.
Maybe they're all inbred. I don't know.
I don't know. It might be hereditary. They might be related way down the line.
Are they kissing cousins?
It just like skips generations,
Right. Yeah, I mean, they're all inbreeding or kissing cousins and marrying cousins, and
that's how
I don't know.
They fueled this population, isn't it?
Right.
I mean, me and you are cousins, aren't we?
Oh yeah, of course we are, brother. Yeah. We're cousins from
the connection somewhere down the fucking line, dude.
Right. Well, we're all 6 degrees of separation, so there you go. Right. But seriously, if anyone knows, what the hell is that what are they inflicted with? Because I don't know, and it's like, it seems to be a lot of these people from the New England area, the upper Northeast area, that are afflicted with this, and I don't know what it is, and I don't know why, and nobody can figure out how to cure these people either.
Yeah, no, it's a weird thing that there's no cure for it.
Yeah, it's something weird, but anyway, let's move on, shall we?
So enraged by democracy that they're screaming quite literally at the ocean.
I told you before, and I'll say it again. Mental disorder.
Yes. with a
These
capital
people
M.
are mental, dude. These people are. We're doing a podcast about mental disorders, and this is one of them.
Now to some Australian
Oh my God.
content. Here is a woman protesting outside a synagogue in Melbourne, holding a sign saying, "Nothing is more anti-Semitic than Zionism." And listen to her reasoning here. This is incredible.
Why are you talking about anti-Semitism when you're not Jewish?
Because I've been impacted by anti-Semitism.
Are you a Jew?
No, people think I am, and I've been called a Jew and had someone threaten to kick my ass because they thought I was Jewish, so it's impacted me as well.
No, it wasn't because they thought you were Jewish.
So
They
you've
wanted
been
to kick your
affected by
ass.
anti-Semitism because people mistake you as a Jew.
Correct. Yeah.
Did they?
Are you listening to
No,
yourself?
it's because you're an asshole.
No,
Yeah.
no, you're not listening to yourself. You're harassed because people think you're a Jew and you think it's a fine idea to protest outside a synagogue and hold a sign saying Zionism is anti-Semitic.
Wearing a
Can I
Palestinian
suggest
hat.
you start by looking up what Zionism actually means? Now to the Australian Parliament, and this outburst from Senator Fatima Payman is
Okay, let's move on to some others that are more in America. But I want to show some more of those. I think she has some more, another clip from her as well.
While you're looking that up, so it's called spasmodic dysphonia. Is a chronic neurological voice disorder and a focal laryngeal dystonia. Results in involuntary spasms of the muscles that open or close the vocal folds, causing a voice that presents with breaks and strangled quality. Yeah, so that's what it's called. However, how they're getting it is another question.
Yeah, I would like to know how they get that. Yes, exactly. All right. So here's some more from Rita and her show, and hopefully she'll show a little bit more of American lefties also losing it because they have this mental disorder as well. It's just, oh my God.
These have been the funnest thing that I've seen on the internet for.
I know. Yeah, these are awesome. Love it. Glad you found these.
Message Vice President and failed presidential candidate Kamala Harris
Yeah, dude.
delivered to her voters.
So good.
Oh, I can't wait.
I just have to remind you, don't you ever let anybody take your power from you.
Don't you ever.
You have the same power
She's so trashed right
for
now.
November 5th.
Uh,
And you have the same purpose.
Where's my other margarita?
And you have the same
I got boobs.
ability to
I think it's what she's
engage
saying right
and
there.
inspire. So don't ever let anybody or any circumstance take your power from you.
Where's
Dude.
the joy? Yes,
It's like
it does
your
feel
drunk
like she's,
aunt, dude, at Thanksgiving. It's so comedy, dude. I've seen tons of memes of that clip on the socials, and one of them, I don't know who did it to originally, but one of them like photoshopped a whiskey bottle in her hand.
Oh, yeah.
While she's doing that, dude, and it was so perfect, and it's like. It was seriously like your drunk aunt just like giving you some heartfelt shit at Thanksgiving when she's like 3 sheets to the wind. Like she'd been drinking before she came to Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And now, she knows everything.
It's like, you're good enough, you're strong enough, and gosh darn it, people like you. Is that not exactly what
Oh my God, dude.
You're beautiful. No matter how you look on the outside, you're beautiful. Everybody thinks so.
Yeah, it's absolutely hilarious.
It's gold. It's comedic gold right there.
Yes.
repeating a mantra to herself in the mirror daily. Now to someone else who needs a good hard look in the mirror because everything Sharon Stone spews in this
God.
sad little
So
diatribe
disappointed in Sharon
actually
Stone.
applies to her and her ilk.
My country is in its adolescence.
Oh, exactly.
Adolescence is very arrogant. Adolescence thinks it knows everything.
Like Democrats.
Adolescence is naive and ignorant and arrogant. And
Like
we are in
Democrats.
our ignorant, arrogant adolescence. We haven't seen this before in our country. So Americans who don't travel, who 80% don't have a passport, who are uneducated, are in their extraordinary naivete.
extraordinary. The deep
Naivete. She has not aged well.
No, she hasn't. And I think that her costume team, they're in their extreme naivete, because that ball necklace was fucking horrible.
Oh my god. And I don't want to make fun of people's looks. I mean, it's too easy of a target. It's just
it's way too easy.
I mean, trust me, you can make fun of me all you want. I get it. Okay, chubs.
Yeah.
But it's like, I get it. I own it. It's like, you know what? I don't care. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't hurt me. Sticks and stones may break my bones.
Yeah, no, I wear a porn stash for a reason. You know what I mean?
And you wear it well.
Oh, thank you, sir.
You wear it well. Yeah. What was and I'm going blank because we're trying to get all this in there. But what was the movie she was in where she crossed her legs? And
Basic Instinct.
Basic Instinct. Thank you. Yeah. And oh my God, was everybody in love with that or in lust with that? Now look at it. It is not a good look right now. Did not age well.
It was really kind of what she was famous for. I don't think I can't. I don't know.
Chops,
She might have done some community service and some outreach programs, over the last 20 years. But that happened 30 years ago or something like that movie was. And really, I don't understand why she has a podium or even a voice in the matter, to be honest with you, and why people are even thinking that her opinion matters. And that's one of the things that kind of pisses me off is like what they tried to do with Kamala's campaign, is they tried to convince everybody that celebrities' opinions mattered,
right?
When they really don't. You know what I mean? No one gives a shit. Nobody that has half a brain, anyway.
Yeah.
And I think that was really trying to pull some of the younger audience who still looks at these people as as creditable sources when half of their creditable sources are leaving the country because they're on the goddamn titty list. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Ellen. Anyway, but yes, but you're absolutely right.
Come on.
And it's like, nobody gives a shit. I mean, nobody with a brain in their head gives a shit about it. Great. Awesome. You want us to vote for Kamala. I'm still not going to, because she doesn't have what it takes.
Nobody over 35 really gives a shit. And the thing is, too, is I leaned left in my late teens and early 20s. But the thing was, I didn't know any better.
Right.
You know what I mean? I didn't know any better.
That's what you were supposed to do.
And a couple of the people that are around me that actually really followed politics, and then I had a girlfriend that was going into politics, and she was on the left side, right. And but then it was a thing though too, is her and we lived together, and her and I butt heads all the time on politics, and I was like, well, wait a minute, maybe this makes me on the other side or somewhere in the middle, because what she's spewing kind of sounds like a bunch of horse shit.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, dude, you know as well as I do, I would venture to guess that between 70 to 80% of what the left believes and what the right believes match and line up.
Mm-hmm.
And that 10% on one side is radical this, 10% on the other side is radical that, and we disagree on that. But when we really agree with 70 to 80% the same thing, we all want clean air, we all want clean water, we all want safe streets, we all really kind of don't want open borders where we have no idea who's coming across the border, bringing drugs and diseases and
bombs and terror.
And I think we all kind of agree. We all don't really want to be taxed. The people who think that we should be taxed more are people who are pushing an agenda, being paid by somebody, or are really that fucking stupid that they think that the government should take more money out of your pocket. So for every dollar you make, you're lucky to keep 50% of, or 40% of, or 30%.
When our dollar is taxed, number one, before we get it, and then
Right.
after we get it, and then on everything we purchase,
Right.
it's a little excessive. This is a little excessive.
Just a little bit. Exactly. Exactly.
Come on.
All right, so let's listen a little bit more of these losers losing it, as I like to call them.
Delusion, the self-delighted arrogance and ignorance of a Hollywood elite who has zero understanding of her own country and countrymen, let alone the world. Even her little stat there about passports was wildly wrong.
I don't know
but
where she got that either.
ill-informed, hate-filled rant did not end there.
Those good men must be very aware that a lot of your friends are not good men. And you can't continue to pretend
Sounds like Kamala.
that your friends are good men when they are not good men. And you must be very clear.
Which you're not being.
This guy starts
and
clapping.
understand
What
that
are you
your
talking about?
friends who are not good men are dangerous, violent men. And you
Did she and Kamala go to the same school of word salad?
They must have. That's hilarious.
They must have. Yeah.
have to keep them away from your daughters, your wives, and your girlfriends.
Here's the fear mongering.
She had the courage to speak out about bad men when Harvey Weinstein was preying upon young women. But then Harvey,
Did Harvey
was a
prey upon
Democrat.
her?
He hated Trump. He hates
Way
Trump.
back in the day.
He even marched with the Pussy Hat Brigade. Can you believe that? Against Donald Trump.
Remember that.
And you remained protected. And let's end this Sharon Stone interlude with this ridiculous remark where she compares the real fascism Italy experienced in the past with Trump's election victory.
You know, Italy has seen fascism.
It's Italy.
Italy has seen these things. You guys, you understand what happens.
Oh dear, someone should tell Sharon who the Italian Prime Minister is right now. It's the Italian Trump, Giorgia Meloni, a centre-right woman who the media decried as a fascist, a far-right extremist, and a threat to the country. Sound familiar? She is now among, if not the most popular leader in Europe. Also in Italy is another lefty losing it, and he's a regular in this segment, Alec Baldwin. Fresh from
I love
an
Alec.
awful Saturday Night
He actually does a
Live
good Trump
performance,
impersonation.
and he too was bashing his country and his countrymen.
It's Alec.
It's a very difficult time in the United States. Americans are very uninformed about reality, what's really going on. With climate change, Ukraine, Israel, you name it all.
He's right. We are all uninformed about all of these because we're being fed a bunch of bullshit.
Bullshit.
We're leftist, propagandist media.
Mm-hmm.
And if you listen to the mainstream media, mainstream news, the CNN, and MSNBCs, and so on, that's what you're going to get. You know, I think, who was it? I just saw on the Jimmy Dore show, they were talking about how, it was Lindsey Graham. They interviewed Lindsey Graham on Fox, and he played the clip, and he was talking about how Lindsey Graham, who I'm no fan of, I don't like Lindsey. He's a Republican, and I don't like him. I think he's a piece of shit warmonger. Never been married, doesn't have kids, but he's willing, just like Liz Cheney, to put your kids on the line to fight for a cause that's going to make us money, because he admitted there's probably upwards of $7 to $12 trillion worth of wait for it, rare earth minerals.
Mm-hmm.
And what do we use rare earth minerals and such for? EV batteries, cell phones, electronics, you name it.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about the Benjamins.
Yeah, it is.
So all of these hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians have died because they don't want Putin to get the rare earth minerals. And Xi Jinping has the market cornered on rare earth minerals because China apparently has a shit ton of that under their ground as well. So that's what this has all been about.
Well, that's what the American people that
BlackRock's
he's talking, well, that like he's not talking about, are uninformed about.
Yeah.
They don't know those kind of things. They
Right.
don't know that
Neither
the
does
Middle-
he, apparently.
he doesn't either, you know, and he's just playing into this fucking stupid narrative.
Yeah.
And it bums me out because I like Alec Baldwin as an actor.
Oh yeah.
I really
do too.
did, you know, I should say is a word. Did. Same with De Niro.
Well, he's one of the few people that got away with murder or manslaughter or whatever you want to call it. Actually,
Well,
I mean, I'm just saying.
And the thing was too, it's like, you know, and these people are uninformed that the Middle East hate us. Like they're not excited about the goddamn protests that the pro-Palestinian protests that Americans are having. They don't give two shits. You know what I mean?
Right. Because, you know why? Because those in the Middle East have more of, whether you agree with, and I don't necessarily agree with a lot of it because they're pretty radical with their Sharia law type of thing. And not all of them, I'm just saying the radical ones. But they don't, the reason they hate the West is because of like the Jaguar commercial that we just showed on the last segment. And the LGBTQ, all these different things that are going on, they vehemently disagree with. It's not in the Quran. It's not in their religious beliefs and their moral beliefs and things like that. And that's really the biggest reason, from what I understand, having watched things over the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just because we're American, or it's because we have allowed our society to go down this, and apparently they see it, this evil path, like Hollywood. I mean, pushing the devil into a lot of music videos and a lot of movies and things like that. Did you see the recent movie, Babylon, with Margot Robbie?
No, you know what? I don't have a girlfriend currently, so I don't watch a lot of movies right now.
Okay, well, just a real quick synopsis for the single guy.
Inform me, please, Bob.
I will inform you. It was rather interesting. It was about 1930s Hollywood. Okay. And it started almost from the inception of Hollywood and the whole movie industry and acting and blah, blah, blah. But they went out to the West Desert before California and LA was developed as much. You could go out into the desert that's now, I don't know, West LA area. I mean, east side of the mountains, and maybe up across the top into the Inland Valley, and then over into like Victorville, Hesperia area. Is you're out in the middle of the nowhere in the desert, and they have these Hollywood parties, and you go underground into this cave. This is what's in the movie, and you go deep down into this cave, and then it's like going to Sodom and Gomorrah, man. Or, you know, and in this, and you have these weird ass sex type parties and orgies and all this weird shit going on, and freaks and all this. This shit's been going on, and now with the Diddy stuff, and you've heard about all the stories of these girls being used as party favors, and all of this stuff. That shit's been going on forever. You know, shit, almost 100 years, 80, 90 years, whatever. And this is what the Middle Easterners, our enemies, the Saudis and Iranians and all this. This is what they don't agree with.
Right. And it's the bullshit that, these lefty actors are trying to protect. That's the sick thing.
Yeah, it's the child sex trafficking. This is why they, part of the reason why they've allowed, this shit coming over the borders. I mean, they're in cahoots with cartels trafficking people coming over the border.
Mm-hmm.
Where are the 325,000 missing immigrants, children? The children alone, 350,000 children.
Did you see
missing?
Did you see the 2-year-old come over without her parents that
No,
was
I didn't see
dropped
that.
at the border, dude. And you're telling me that child, she had a, and this, I guess this is a common thing. She had a note stuck to her, or something was written on her hand, but that's what they're doing. They're writing it on their arms or sticking notes to them.
Right.
These young children that they say, call this person when I get to the border, or some shit like that. Contact this person to send me to.
Right.
And who the fuck knows whether that's their actual family or a family member, like a extended family member, or
I'm sure
if
totally
it's a trafficker. You know what I mean?
I'm sure it's totally their family, dude. What are you talking about? You don't want to separate children.
Yeah, and that's just, it's sick. You know what I mean? And these droves of children are just being dropped at the border,
it's pretty sick.
Like it's a normal thing. That's terrible. It's so sick.
But where's the outcry from the Democrats, from the left, and a lot of Republicans, establishment rhino Republicans also? Where's the outcry? Where's the rage, the outrage on this shit?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody gives a shit. Because they're finding out with the whole Diddy thing, and we can do another dive into Diddy. We've already done an episode. We can continue doing more. Trust me. They're finding out about a lot of these people that have gone missing. These kids have gone missing. It's just sick. And this guy, who I used to like, who I used to think was pretty funny and everything, is, getting on his high horse. Well, why are you even talking? Why are you even here talking about anything? And it just is amazing. Let's continue on. We don't want this to run for 14 hours, which it easily could.
One of the biggest topics in the world.
Now to CNN, where Scott Jennings, as the token conservative, continues to
I like Scott
embarrass
Jennings.
the
He
lefty
actually stands up for
losers.
shit.
I heard what you're saying about X. I saw a survey this week. It's now the most ideologically balanced user platform.
Scott,
of any platform.
stop. It's too early. I just
I
sat
know.
down. I've only been here for 2
You're gonna
minutes.
be
You
embarrassed
cannot
when I
continue
tweet
to
that
say
after the show, but
You
it's-
Oh my
cannot
God.
say that.
Shut up. Christ. Seriously?
What I find, we reported it on this network.
It's not accurate, and you know it.
Okay, I'll let you make your statement.
Yes, Scott, what's your source? It's too early for facts.
But they never source their
Let's have a
shit.
look at what
Too
the
early for
sources,
facts.
where Scott
Too early
got
for
those
facts.
facts and figures from.
Look at this, the party ID among those who regularly use X/Twitter for news. Back in 2022, 65% of those who regularly use Twitter/X for news were Democrats. Just 31% were Republicans. Look at where we are today. Just a completely different picture. Now it's basically split between Democrats at 48%, Republicans at 47%.
But they call it the
And what I should note,
conservative
Mr.
platform.
Berman,
I mean,
is
give me a
this
break.
now,
It's
this new
50-50 for
overall
hell's sake.
makeup matches the overall electorate far better.
Democrats still outnumber Republicans on X, but it's some sort of far-right site. I mean, people who spew that nonsense obviously have zero experience on social media, or they're just dishonest. Take your pick.
Probably that one.
Now let's check in with a grown man who identifies as a
God.
baby wearing a diaper.
Oh, God. Here we
He has
go.
a disturbing update for us.
Yeah, I want to go back, drop off an order, and my diaper's getting kind of full right now. So
Diaper?
I might need to change really soon.
Really
But it
full?
is very discreet. Check out my last video for the discreet
Oh my
outfits
God.
video, but my diaper is getting a little full right now.
Mental
Utility
disorder.
providers don't want you to know about this.
He's getting a little full right now.
Little full. I don't understand how anyone in the Democrat Party who has a brain in their head, and there's a lot of smart, good people, obviously, who are Democrats, who, if hope that they can separate from the narrative the Democrats are putting out there and just say, you know what, this is weird and I don't agree with it. The furries and the baby identifiers and just shit like this.
How can you... I don't know how you can seriously, of sound mind and sound body, just write this off as something normal and something, like you said, not something that it's a mental disorder, and something that's not normal, and something that's not really like tracked and diagnosed, because that's something that really I honestly feel bad for that person, because at some point or another, either they didn't recognize that they were either had a mental breakdown, and then this persona persists,
right?
Or someone in their family didn't recognize it and say, hey, you got to seek some help for this. This is not what grown-ups do. This is not what people do. Like, what are you doing like this? Exactly. You can't be acting like this.
You can't be acting like this, dude. Yeah.
And
no, it's nuts. And you're right. I don't think somebody in the family decided to say, hey, you know what, Junior? You have a serious problem, and yeah, we need to get you some help, because this is not normal. This is a mental issue you've got going on.
Well, and I think a lot of this stuff, especially that, stems from a lot of childhood trauma, and yeah, I'll say it. I know it's something that's been overused, and I know it's something that's been used as an excuse before, but I do agree that childhood trauma untreated can go a long way. I mean, we're seeing it now, and it's sad. And I think that obviously there's more extreme cases than others,
right?
But at the same time, if you're acting like a baby, obviously, and you're using a social platform to tout it, then you obviously weren't loved as a baby, or something
traumatic happened.
Yeah, something fucking weird happened.
Lunatic is on the grass.